Arsenal Football Club have won the race for Mikhailo Mudryk. It is now understood that Shakhtar are willing to accept around 40 million. Accept around 40 million. Plus potential add-ons for the winger. Another factor in Arsenal's favour is Mudryk's desire to link up with Ukrainian teammate Zinchenko. This has been a forward, this has been a player for a significant amount of time that Arsenal have been following and monitoring. We're going to give you the breakdown on this, but Arsenal Football Club maybe just got a whole lot scarier. Make sure you smash the like and the share button. I want you to leave your comments below right now. But breaking news from the Mirror is that Arsenal will win the race for their top transfer target, Mudryk, for a price around 40 million plus potential add-ons. Now, why is this so significant for Arsenal? One, Mikhailo Mudryk is a very well coveted, highly touted individual with scouts from right across the world looking at him. He's an individual that has garnished so much interest from the European elites. So landing this potential, landing this individual, landing this skill set, this player profile is key. It takes away from your rivals, both domestically and in Europe. So that element there is massive. On top of this, the reinforcements in January are what Arsenal fans have been screaming for to ensure they remain in this title race and maybe even win the Premier League. Maybe even win the Premier League. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it? Maybe, just maybe, that is what Arsenal Football Club can go on to do from this point. They maybe need more than Mikhailo Mudryk. But what a start to their January transfer window this could be. This deal appears very realistic. The news surrounding this deal is not out of the norm and seems pretty goddamn. It, it seems to follow the linear line. It seems to follow the linear line of this story based on the links in the summer, the interviews that Mudryk has given, the information that we've had from the likes of Ben Jacobs on this show on many, many, many occasions. But what about the player? Where does he play? How will he fit in? We'll get into that in a few moments' time. Viewers, make sure you're hitting the like and the share button, as we said at the top of this video. Also, download the One Football app now. You can scan that QR code on the screen or click on the link in the description below. When it comes to One Football, news, in-game statistics, live scores, league tables, video content, live streaming of Serie A, and much, much more. There's such an abundance of quality on the One Football app. You have to have it downloaded right about now. So get One Football downloaded. It's free of charge as well. It's available on all devices. Get that done. What about the player? Well, the individual, what we know about him is this. He can play in three positions. Predominantly, he's left-hand side of the attack, but he can play on the right, and he could also play on the in a more central role. Or he has done that within his playing career. He's young playing career, but he has done that. But predominantly, when you break him down, when you look at him, the vast majority of his games have come on that left hand side. He's also inverted, so he's right footed, very much mirroring what Bukayo Saka does on the other side. Now, this is the kind of player that I do think Arsenal need in abundance, because if Martinelli or Saka get hurt, I don't think right now they have the overall quality consistently to be able to cover those areas. For if you were going beyond 3 or 4 games out, you would start to struggle in quality. On top of that, there is a thought amongst football minds that Mudryk could become better than what Arsenal already have in those positions. And the biggest and the best clubs in the world always aim to bring in better than what they have. Sometimes it's impossible if you've got a striker like Thierry Henry. There was no way of improving on that in that day and age, in that era. It was practically impossible. But you've always got to aim to bring in better than what you've got. And if a club can do that, you continue to raise the standards, you continue to get better, and you can continue to challenge, which is why this deal, again, adds a further level of fear, adds another layer into the scare cake, which is Arsenal at this moment in time. And what will really make this deal interesting is if Arsenal can get it pulled off relatively quickly. If Arsenal can get this over the line relatively quickly, this puts them into a very, very strong position indeed. And what's really interesting is that you are going to hear a difference very soon. What the media will do, and it will get spun via Shakhtar between now and when the deal happens. It's very likely to complete at this moment in time. Is there'll be some gamesmanship going on here? Publicly, Shakhtar are stating they want 100 million euros for the player. To break that down and let you make you understand what that looks like, 100 million euros is about 85 million pounds. But actually, most people in the game believe that the deal is going to be done for between 60 and 65 million euros, likely to be a base fee of around 40 million pounds with some potential add-ons. So you will see. So Arsenal fans, get yourself strapped in that you're going to be seeing 70s and 80s and 90 million pound packages put out there across media. What is more likely is it's going to be an initial payment of around 40 million pounds for this individual. Of course, Shakhtar are going to try and push this up. The great thing about this deal for Arsenal is that Mudryk isn't at the World Cup. He isn't able to go there and shine and show everybody just how good he is, meaning there isn't going to be a price hike. You're seeing now with Cody Gakpo with the Netherlands, he scored 2 games running. The price is starting to rise. The hype train is there. So this really does fit very, very well for Arsenal Football Club indeed. Not only is he a phenomenal young talent with a huge ceiling, and that's the one thing about Mudryk I like. There is a huge ceiling there. There is an individual that you look at and think to yourself, this guy keeps improving at the rate that he is. He could be special. And you look at this season alone, 18 games played in his domestic league and in the Champions League, and he's standing there on 18 goal contributions, 10 goals and 8 assists. And a lot of people will say, well, it's only the Ukrainian league. How strong is that right now with everything going on in the world? Well, 6 Champions League appearances and 5 goal contributions this year alone. And he is only 21, turning 22 this year. You go back to last season, and when you start looking at the numbers there, the improvement in him is exponential. 19 appearances, it says here he has in the 21-22 season, 11 goal contributions. You go back further than that to the previous campaign. Again, not a huge amount of games being played, but no goals, nothing. The jump up and the spike in this individual was massive. And I think the Arsenal Football Club are right to be looking to get this deal done now. They're right to be looking to get this deal done and over the line before anybody else gets involved. The last thing you want is to miss out on this individual this January and for him to continue his brilliance when football starts again. And then suddenly you're in a situation where you do have a Barcelona, you do have a Real Madrid, you do have a Bayern Munich wanting to come in. And it isn't to say that Arsenal can't sign a player in front of those individuals, but what it's more likely to do is push that price up, create a bidding war, and you end up hemorrhaging, 10, 15, 20 million pounds more than you really wanted to pay. You often get this argument over we shouldn't buy in January, it's more expensive. But people negate the fact that if you leave it until the summer and you've got more competitors trying to buy this player, the price is going to rise anyway. It becomes almost, you may as well pay that same price you would in the summer with a bidding war and have him for an additional 6 months. Have him to help your team. The one thing I think I'll be pushing for hard if I was an Arsenal fan is can we please get this deal done first, second, third, fourth of Jan, like very quickly, very early. Last minute in January, listen, Bentancur and Kulusevski were great signings last year for Tottenham, no doubt. But if Tottenham could have just had them at the beginning of January rather than the end of January, they may have made the top 4 with a little bit more, with more ease, as an example. So I think there's that element there. But overall, this is another scary piece of business from Arsenal. Their recruitment in the past 2 to 2.5 years, and the players have allowed to exit really, have been almost universally successful. almost universally successful. You'd probably look at Lukonga as the only player that's come in who hasn't really significantly improved, either individually or improved the team. But every other deal, really, in my opinion, has moved the needle, created more depth, made the team so much more potent, which is why Arsenal have been the best team in the league this year, why they're currently one of the best teams in Europe, and they're just looking to add to that. And I've questioned the Cronkies and I've questioned Arsenal many times because I have high standards for the top 6 clubs. We're so rich, the standards should be high. And I said that when you can start talking about your owner doing the right thing, one of the gateway moments is this very scenario. We're in a title race. Are we going to spend to improve? We're up against one of the greatest Premier League teams of all time. Are we going to spend to improve our squad so nothing can go wrong? And it does as of now look like Arsenal Football Club are about to do that. Now, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. I also want you to download that One Football app for me. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.